All right, friends more like family, thank you for tuning in today. Today we're talking about a very specific type of relationship dynamic that we know a lot of people have been through.
Yeah.
And it's basically the pressures of dealing with your parents in a relationship and what your parents want for you and how that can kind of affect how you make your decisions, how those things like family pressures can affect your relationship. And I know a lot of people can relate, especially people who have kind of had interracial relationships or inter religion relationships.
I think that's a
Is that a
word.
thing?
That's probably
How would you
right.
say it?
No, that's probably right. It's probably into it. I don't know, to be honest with you, but it's probably something along the lines
Well,
of.
yeah, religious differences within your relationship. We know a lot of people that have been through this. Like some of them have worked out and some of them have not. Because specifically because of those things that separate us, like race and religion, unfortunately. So we kind of want to talk about that. We want to talk about our experiences, what we think about it, and how we feel. Like, should those things divide us? Should people stay in their own lane when it comes to those differences in like culture, religion, race, and like how relationships can bring those together? Or, like how far are you willing to go with it? Like, are you okay with that? Are you not? Do you prefer to date someone from your own race or your own religion? So we kind of just wanted to touch on that because we have had a few experiences, right, that have been a little kind of close to home,
Hmm.
and we've witnessed some things.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
so basically, let's start off by asking like, would either of you guys date someone that is a different, I mean, I feel like I know that you guys would date whatever race,
Hmm.
but would you guys date someone that's like a different religion than you?
Yeah. Yeah, I would.
You
Uh,
have. I have too.
yeah, no, but like I'm just thinking like long term, like marriage. Like I think it'd be fire to like have an Indian wedding or something like that, or like
I've
like
been
you think
dying
about
for it.
Yeah,
different
hell yeah.
cultures, like those some of those weddings throw down. So like
Yeah.
if I was to marry into
Definitely.
like a family that was like very rich in that culture, like they want the whole. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think that's
Yeah.
something nice. But again, I have nothing wrong with like my own culture, my own religion, dating or marrying.
Mhm.
When it comes to religion, I feel like this is gonna sound terrible, but the less conservative, the better. Just because
Mm.
being in a Hispanic culture, it's just we're out here. You know what I mean? So
As
like,
far as what?
as far as like drinking and partying and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
we have, I feel like larger than life personalities,
Mhm.
and I feel like if I were to marry, let's say, an Indian or like an Italian woman, like I feel like those would mesh well. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
So
It also though depends on the family because
True.
true,
there are a lot of
exactly.
like Hispanic people that like really that are
Yeah,
like super
super strict.
like Catholic or Christian
Mm.
and really look down
Yeah.
on like people who drink and party,
Yeah.
like. So I think it really depends on like how committed you are to a strict religion or to a religion that has more like guidelines and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Um so yeah, I definitely feel that. I could see that.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. Like I feel like my mom's very religious, but she never imposed that on me.
Mm.
Um. So like I don't see like I don't see a relationship, any relationship that I take um in that light, in like that, like oh shit, like that religion, like or like a huge culture difference. I've never really dated anybody where it's like I've dated girls with like strict parents. I've done that a couple times, but like never to the point where it's like I'm not allowed to date you or be with you
Because of your religious
yeah,
like
which is like in my opinion, right? It's just like it's like a terrible thing, like
Yeah.
some think about like forced marriages and things of that nature. Like
yeah.
you never got a choice. You never got to pick like if it was for you or not. Like that people telling you was good for you and was good for has never worked for me.
Yeah.
Um,
I actually went to college with a few girls that they were like really good friends, and I remember them telling me like that in their culture, like marriage, like, what is that? Arranged marriage was like a very normal thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, like, she was like, I just really want to finish school. Like, I want to stay in college, but like, my mom just has a guy for me that like she wants me to marry, and like, I don't want to do it. And I was just like, damn. But like, I try to kind of, although that's something that like I could never see myself agreeing with, I try to understand. Yeah, because I don't like taking really taboo for what is taboo to me things like, or like people's different like experiences in religion or race or whatever. I don't like taking those things and kind of like looking down on it, because like to some people that's just what works for them, and not only works for them, that's what fulfills them and makes them happy, but it's hard. I find like sometimes I have this battle, because I'm like, how could you force a woman to marry someone that they don't know or they might not want to marry, but then I also feel like, well, that's a huge part of who they are, and what they align with. So for me to be like, oh my God, like that's so terrible and sad, and she's like, I mean, it just is what it is. I'm like, oh, okay, let me shut the fuck up then.
Isn't it crazy how those marriages, like the arranged marriages, like statistically, they last longer? Like
crazy, yeah.
Like it makes me think that in a relationship, you just have to really just make shit work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of people do.
Yeah. You disagree?
No, it was a conversation I had with Cass earlier, where it was like, hypothetically speaking, in any relationship, like, are you the problem for not sticking it out in the mud? Like, are you the problem because you didn't hold on long enough? Like you didn't try to fix every little thing, and it's like, or is that considered settling? I don't really feel like you should stick it out in the mud, or you should settle. Like you have to do what you like, play it by ear. Like do what's best for your relationship, the dynamic of your relationship. Like factor in all the factors, kids, no kids. Like longevity of the relationship, whatever you have to factor.
A fine line.
The algorithm.
Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta weigh all that, and then once you weigh all that, you realize like this, what I'm fighting for. Is it worth fighting for? Nah, it's not. I gotta walk away.
Yeah.
So those are the things that like weigh down, like the relationship, what we're talking about today, relationship with your parents, the culture, the religion. Like, how heavy does that weigh? Give me an example, Faye. How heavy does that weigh on you in deciding your relationship?
You know what it is? I love my parents to death. They've never had anything harsh to say about the person I was with until we ended. Like it's funny because they're the type of people to be like, "Oh my God, she's so nice. I think she's perfect for you."
They let you figure it out.
Exactly. And then like the next week I'll be like, "Yeah, we broke up. Yeah, I didn't really like her anyways. I didn't think she loved me."
It's so funny because
I love that.
That didn't happen to me with my family, but that happens to me with my friends.
Yeah.
That they were like, yeah, like, no, I never really, like, and I'm like, y'all bitches just didn't tell me.
That's wild.
But, I get it at the same time, because it's like when you're in a relationship, you can't tell your friend or your family member that you don't like them. Like, they have to figure it out on your own, because when you do say it, then you become the problem.
You're the bad guy.
And they're still in the relationship.
FYI, I just want to say something really quick. Danny was like that in the beginning a lot, where he'd be like, "Yo, I don't like your girlfriend."
Yeah.
And then he got coined the name the girlfriend hater.
That's again
The girl.
not true at all. Your statement was 100% false.
Fact.
Your statement was 100.
fact.
You misconstrued that whole story. That is not how that story went at all.
Okay. Did you not have that nickname?
I had the nickname, but not because of
That's it.
make believe ass story.
So why were you the girlfriend hater, Danny?
It was because, very weirdly, you tell me this, Cass. Very weirdly, I would put my friends on to a girl. They would become then into a relationship. Then all of a sudden, the girl doesn't fuck with me anymore like that, like as a friend. Like it would be like a friend of mine. So like I put, like, let's say Moody was my boy and I put you and him together. All of a sudden you don't fuck with me like that no more. And I'm like,
valid.
I'm like, what the
No,
fuck? I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So then they're like, yeah, they just don't fuck with you, because now I was the one that put them together. So apparently I have all the hoes. Like I have just girls around me all the time, so it was like you can't hang out with him. You can't hang out with him, and then it became that the girlfriend hater. That doesn't make any sense. Like because all their girlfriends hated me, including this nimble.
Oh, it wasn't like you hated
No,
the
not that I hated them. They all
girlfriends.
hated me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
irrelevant.
I see what you're saying.
I plead that be dismissed, Your Honor.
Case dismissed.
Yeah, case dismissed.
Yeah. Well, I think all three of us have, like, we're super, super family oriented.
Yeah.
And that's something that we have in common. So sometimes, like, the pressures from our family can definitely take a toll on us. But us three specifically, are in pretty like good positions of the fact that we don't have families who are like extremely like, judgmental or like really rigid when it comes to like who we're dating and stuff like that. Do you guys feel that way? Or do you feel like your parents are more so, they want you to be with a specific type of person?
I feel like my parents are open to it regardless, but I think they would like it better if I married a Hispanic.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like my mom.
I think so too. I also think with your parents, it might be like a language thing too.
Probably.
Just like it's nice to have someone to be able to like speak Spanish with.
Because
you
it's just like, it means like.
Yeah, like you can bond more when you speak the
Meshes
same
well,
language. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
You said you think the opposite?
Not that I think my mother would love if like I got a nice Colombian woman
Yeah.
to like come was it reel me in or whatever. But I think my mom would be happier if I like got some sort of like American girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like so somebody from here, like, like is about her shit, like, just like that she can admire and be like, oh, like that is what I would want for him. I feel like she'd be very happy with that.
Yeah.
But again, the culture is like huge, so like she'd also have to what's the word, assimilate to like like Spanish culture. Like
Right.
she'd have to learn how to dance salsa. She'd have to learn how to like the type of foods, But none of that is hard because a lot of that is fun.
Yeah,
The food, the dancing, like.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of like it's fun for you. I'm sure arranged marriages are fun for other people. But it won't be fun.
I can't believe you just compared salsa dancing to arranged marriage.
It is what it is. I told them last week I was terrible at analogies. So whatever. It is what it is.
That's bad.
I think for me, my parents have always kind of just been forced to be open to us dating different like races and religions. Well, because my older sisters have only ever had black boyfriends. Like they always like dated black guys. And me, I never really had like a type. So the only thing that I haven't dated,
Oh, Jesus Christ. Not many things.
the only race that I haven't dated is truly, I have never dated a white guy.
Wow. Surprise there.
Yeah, I've never dated a white guy. It's always been like black or Spanish or
Not that many
something.
white guys at Jamaica Queens.
Very true.
But that's the good thing about like us, because I feel like our older siblings just paved the way. So
Yeah,
it's just
100%.
like we're out here. We can do whatever we
Oh
want.
my God,
Not
being
for
the
me.
youngest,
Yeah,
being the youngest,
sorry.
I've gotten away with so
Oh my
much.
God.
Not just gotten away with, but I have had to lie about so many less things than my older siblings had to lie about.
Same.
Because like
And it's funny because
they've been through
The
it.
older siblings just love to rub it in your face or like throw it in your face like,
Oh
"Ooh."
yeah, you've had it so
Yeah.
good. My sister Chloe does that all the time. She's like, you don't know what it was like, okay? Like mom and dad were strict. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? I had the most free, accepting parents in the world. She's like, yeah, you did, not me. She always talks about that.
That's crazy. No, I had to pave my own way. I built these streets.
Yeah,
Proud of you, brother.
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
I could
But-
imagine.
But like with my mom, like the culture thing, it's not that deep. Like I said, she's very religious, but she doesn't impose that on me, which is like amazing because she was like a Catholic and then turned Christian. So you would think like when she jumped onto something else, she would have been like, oh, you have to. And I was like, nah, like, so like my grandmother's very religious, my mom's very religious, both different religions
Oh.
in one household. But just know that
But
Christmas got canceled on my ass when I was like
Jeez.
15.
15?
I don't
15.
understand why Christmas will get canceled because
I don't know. I guess some certain type of Christian. To be honest with you, I haven't looked too deep into it because once they canceled Christmas on my ass,
You were pissed.
I was just mad
You
about
were
it.
like, fuck this.
What do you mean I'm not getting the new whatever?
Yeah, because
Xbox,
Christians and Catholics both are like very similar. They
Yeah,
only
yeah.
have like a few like differences,
Yeah,
but
it
they
all stems
definitely
from
both celebrate
Christianity.
Christmas, from what I know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, I'm Colombian, so like we didn't celebrate Christmas at all. Technically, we celebrated uh, the birth of
Oh,
Oh,
baby Jesus.
but
okay.
it was. Isn't there something in Colombia
I
that they
thought it was
have
like the
called
Three
Dia de
Kings.
los
Oh,
something? No.
Three Kings. What are Three Kings about? I never knew
Yeah,
what
the
that was
Three
about.
Kings.
Is when the three kings showed up. I don't. You know what? Don't quote me on
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
'Cause
You know what? Actually, my mom this past Christmas was telling me she was born and raised in DR, and she told me that they didn't have Christmas, but they did like the Three Kings Day. Like
that's in like January, right, or something like that.
no, it's like a few days after
I
Christmas.
believe. Yeah, I believe so.
Isn't that Kwanzaa? All right, now y'all got me fucked
Yeah, we're
up.
not here to
We're
talk about the
terrible at
holidays.
anything.
Yeah, y'all got me fucked up.
Okay,
About
question
Kwanzaa
for
and
you
shit.
both.
Let's hear it.
What would you do if you brought home a girl from like a totally different religion than your parents, and your parents did not want to accept her?
Hmm. Well, I have a different kind of relationship with my mother. Like my specific situation, but I feel like there'd have to be a legitimate reason, and it couldn't be like some sort of like passed down.
Well, like
And
religion is the reason.
if it's yeah, no, that's not. I mean, just for me, for me in general, because of like me not being that religious, I feel like it doesn't play that importance of a part. Like the role isn't heavy enough to stop me from doing something that I want to do, and in anything really, you know.
Yeah.
So especially if it's important, especially if I fucking like the girl,
Yeah.
you know, if I really like this girl. First of all, if I'm introducing her to my mother,
It's
I really like this girl.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
because my mother's immediately like on it, like
Yeah,
she wants to
yeah.
know everything.
If you bring a girl there,
So
it's
if I'm
like,
bringing a girl to my crib and she's meeting my mother and my grandmother,
that like needs to be your girlfriend. It needs to be
It's
like a serious thing.
yeah, not necessarily my girlfriend, but enough where I'm willing to put up with my mother and my grandmother asking me about her all the time.
Okay, got it.
So you know,
Which could
like
be a lot.
8, it's like 3 to 4 times a day. So with that being said, if that was the case, it'd be like a serious talk, but it wouldn't be something that it's like, nah, you're not. There's no way that we're gonna agree to disagree here. You know, like it just has to be one way or the other. You know, like because at the end of the day, your parents put you in a situation where they want you to be the best that you can be, right? Every parent, right? I spoke to a father not too long ago, like a father, not my father, a father, and he told me like, yo, like, what kind of parent wouldn't want their kid to be a better version of them, like just have a
Yeah,
better
yeah.
life than they did? Every parent
Yeah.
strives for that, you know. So
Yeah.
because hold on, I'm about to drop a bomb. I'm about to say a name and shit about to get crazy. No. If your parents want you something better for you, right? How are they gonna restrict you on ancient written, you know, like whether it's religion or whether it's like some sort of like let's say it's a restriction your tribe has,
Okay.
right? Just to give you that kind of analogy, you're supposed to live by that now. Like even your day and age now, you know, we come from immigrant families, so like their culture and things are completely different. Like what my family lived in Colombia is completely different than what I'm living here.
Yeah.
You know, like what you're keen to, what you're open to, what you like, all that's different, right? How are we supposed to live by the same rules that you did?
In a completely different
That
time.
that you did 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Like maybe it was easier for you to find love under those rules, and maybe literally you found the one person that fits all those rules, and it just
became
happened to
love.
be like the person you love.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be amazing because now you make your parents happy and you're happy. That's
Yeah.
amazing. But life just isn't like that. Not always. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like it's tough. Like you can't have I guess you can't have your cake and eat it too, but there's going to be some battles in life that you have to I'm okay with taking this out. I
Yeah.
gotta take this out.
That's
for sure.
tough. That's
Your
very
parents find
tough.
you doing drugs and they're like, stop doing drugs. What are you gonna be like? No, mom, I can do what I want. Like, nah, I feel you. I gotta take this out. I can't do that. You
yeah,
know, like
yeah, yeah.
that's hurting me as well. But something that brings so much joy or love or life into
Yeah.
you, and then your parents want to take that away from you. It's like when they would tell you to stop playing, like it's time to go to bed or something like that. You're like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm tired of living under your rules. And you're like 7 years old. Don't touch my toys. No, I'm grown. I'm a grown ass man. It's like
Yeah.
that. It's crazy. Cass, let me ask you. You're like now dating Moody, right? You guys are from different cultures.
Yeah.
Do you feel like any of that pros and cons? Do you have like pros and cons?
Yeah, there are definitely, like things that you kind of like have to outweigh. And initially, it's crazy because
Did it scare you?
yeah, dude, for sure, for sure. I was really like I was highly concerned about how things were going to turn out when him and I first started dating. And more so when I realized how much I liked him, and that when I realized that I was actually falling in love with him, I was fucking scared as hell because I'm like, shit, we're two completely different religions, but more so on the fact that my parents are not very religious. Like, they're not super duper committed to a religion, but they were both raised like my mom was raised Catholic, my dad was raised Christian, Pentecostal. So but they always kind of just, they were not like, how people are like, oh, we're Christian, but they be like not.
I feel you.
So and Catholics too can be like that.
100%.
But yeah, so we definitely they were definitely raised very religious, but they don't really align so much. They like believe in God and believe in like doing good deeds and being good people, but not so much aligning with the religion. So I was initially super worried because Moody's parents are religious.
The religious Muslims.
Religious Muslims, yes. Yeah. And they, they're religious. And I was initially super scared about like meeting his family. I am very much not Muslim. And I also was really scared, not only because of the religious difference, but to how little I knew about his religion. Like, let's say I am not super religious in Catholics, but I go to meet someone's family who is Catholic but super religious. I'm going to feel like less uncomfortable because even though I'm not like super Catholic religious, I at least know about the religion because I like grew up around Catholics. Like, at least I know, like, the rituals, the prayers, like, like I have an idea of like what they do, what they're about,
You can show
like,
up on Christmas like, tu taina, tu numai, tu taina, tu numai.
what? I am so confused.
All right, so
that?
Colombians do this thing where they sing songs on Christmas, and that's just one of the songs.
Oh, okay. Well, I've never heard that song before, but
Los pastores deben.
no.
Come on.
We'll bump to it afterwards.
So basically, I was really scared because I didn't know anything about Islam. Like, I knew nothing about that religion. I was very like ignorant to just all of their customs and like what's normal to them. Like, I was worried about doing something that might offend them or that might be like really inappropriate without me even realizing it. And it was a big concern. Like,
But
I was fucking scared as hell.
you say ignorant. I don't think you were ignorant. I just think not enough knowledge in that area because you never had to deal with it.
Right. I don't mean ignorance in the sense of
You were going against what they believe.
right. And I don't mean ignorance in the sense of like being like a dick, like an ignorant dick, but just like ignorance as far as like the lack of knowledge,
I got you.
like surrounding that,
That's another topic.
Yeah, so like I was super nervous. Luckily, in my case with Moody, his parents are absolutely amazing. They're like super loving and they were so receptive to me, and I very much so got really lucky that his parents are so kind to me. Like, they are just amazing people. And thank God, speaking on this religion thing, like I do thank God. I think I'm so grateful that they were able to look past the religion. But I know a lot of people that are committed to their specific religion don't are unable to look past that, like they're unable to look past the religious differences or the cultural differences, or racial differences. Some parents just can't, they won't get over it, like they'll choose not to. But his parents didn't, they didn't make that choice. It was definitely like a question, like, definitely a conversation that they had like amongst themselves
For
that
sure.
I'm not fully aware about. But in the end, they got themselves to be super loving and they accept me fully now.
That's awesome. Do you know? Quick question. Do you know how a Cassidy Moody wedding would look like? Is it something like would you have to convert? How does that work?
Yeah, so this is a very personal and like,
We don't have to talk
no,
about
I
it.
want to talk about it, but I just want to like
I put that
put
disclaimer
that
out there.
out there. Like,
Yeah.
it is a very personal thing. And it's hard to like come out and say like what I would do or what I wouldn't do. But I've always leaned towards, not converting for a marriage, not changing anything. Well, okay, I can't say not changing anything
But
about
like
myself, but
the principles, like
yeah, not changing my like deep rooted beliefs. Because in all honesty, if I were to convert, right? Let's say I were to convert, it wouldn't be because I feel called to Islam and because I feel called to this religion, like because I feel a connection with it. It would be kind of like just to please
somebody
other
else.
people,
Yeah.
somebody else, or like family members.
Do you
Or
feel like you'd be doing the religion a disservice?
definitely, if you're like, in my belief, if you're committing to a religion, and your heart isn't in it, of course, that's doing the religion a disservice. And I have so much respect for religions and for people who believe in religion or align with certain religions. I just personally don't.
Yeah.
And I would hate to be one of those people that is like, oh yeah, like I'm Muslim, but
You're
I
not
I don't
really.
believe in anything in the religion. Like I just did it to get married.
Yeah.
It's like if my heart isn't in it, like I wouldn't want to. That's like almost like more disrespectful to me.
Two things. Two things. I feel like one, I don't think Moody would want you to do that.
Yeah.
Like something about me, like I don't know how. Like I know a lot about Moody, but I don't know how how religious or like deep rooted his religious. Oh my God, how deep rooted his religious beliefs are. But like I feel like he'd be like, I'm not making you do that because I wouldn't want, like if somebody were to try to convert him out of being a
Yeah.
Muslim, like.
Right.
And then two would be like, I feel like that's very like honorable to not like want to join a religion if you're not truly like a believer, like I feel like you would join if you like followed all the beliefs and they
Yeah.
aligned with your morals and your principles, and I feel like you'd be like,
Right.
yeah, I can convert for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And you're absolutely right about Moody. He has always felt like, he would want he wouldn't want me to do that, or like any one of his partners to do that if it just
It wasn't what you
yeah,
want.
if that's not what they want, like. And I am, again, in that aspect as well, I'm really lucky because he knows a lot of like young guys that are Muslim like him, and they're like, nah, like I can't ever marry a girl that like is not Muslim. And not just that, but like he'll like his friends and his guy like Muslim friends that don't even like, they're not like super religious also, but that's what they believe. Like they want to marry a girl that is Muslim, and their families want that as well. But I've been lucky enough that Moody is like, you don't do something unless you want to do it, that like it comes from you, and his parents have told me the same thing. They're like, you're not forced to do anything that doesn't come from you, that doesn't come from your heart. But something that I am interested in, just because this is like my personality type, is like I'm interested in learning about it. But I don't feel that way just about Islam. I feel that way about like
All
so
religion.
many religions. Like I love learning like what they do and what are their customs and like rituals, like whatever. Like I love learning about that. I think it's so interesting.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've said. Like I'm super open to learning about it, but can I like commit my life to that and, make a commitment that like I'm gonna be a Muslim and follow Islam? Like I personally can't.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because like I feel like many years ago I got into this thing where like I was like curious about religions, um, and then I got into a a conversation. Let's say I wouldn't call it an argument with somebody about like religion, and like which ones to believe, which ones not to believe, blah blah blah. Like, and a lot of them are like these great stories. But like I told him, he got angry because I told him that my favorite was Greek mythology, right? It's like they tell stories.
It is
And
the most entertaining.
but come on, like the the details of the stories, like like you talk about Oedipus, you talk about all those Greek mythology stories. You're like, this is amazing. Like the storytelling is beautiful. But then like you kind of relate that to other religions, and then people just tend to disagree because this is real and what you're talking about is fake. Like, and that everybody's opinion is valid, but like it's funny that you said that because at that point in time I was like really interested in religions, so I would learn about a little bit about Muslims, Christianity, Catholicism, all that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Greek mythology is awesome. It's like the Marvel of their time.
Right?
It's 100% like the Marvel.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's been my experience. I think I've been pretty fortunate because I know a lot of like people that are in Moody's position that have like super religious, strict parents that didn't have the freedom to bring someone home
Yeah.
that wasn't part of their religion.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it upsets me, but I feel for them.
Yeah.
I feel for them, especially
It's
since
hard.
Who?
for the people who are in that situation that may want to get out of their comfort zone and date other religions, date other people outside of their religion, and feel like they can't.
Yeah. Or not only just date, but like someone that is in love with someone else
Yeah.
that they can't, it can't work because of so much pressure and disapproval from their parents.
Yeah.
And that is like, that's heartbreaking to me,
No,
you know?
for sure.
It is.
For
Because
sure.
I can't imagine like loving Moody the way I do and then like not being accepted by his family. Like,
Yeah.
and whether you like it or not, you can have ignorant parents, you can have racist parents, you can have parents that will not accept any other religion. But at the end of the day, those are your parents and you still love them and you want them to be happy with you, So it's like, or most people do, So
Yeah, it's funny.
That's tough.
It's funny that because I had a conversation with Moody, and what I told him was that like it's very difficult for our parents to try to tell us like you have to follow these dating rules because this is what I went through, or marriage, or whatever the case is, and then like, for example, I'll give you like a random example, like Polish, like you're only allowed to marry a Polish girl or something. But like for your dad, he lived in Poland, surrounded by only Polish girls.
Right.
So it was easy for him to find a Polish girl.
Right.
Now you
Yes.
brought me to Queens, New York City, where
Yes.
this is like the melting pot of humans.
Literally.
Like every human life form has crossed through Queens,
Literally.
right? Including aliens. I'll go there. It's a different episode, 420
Men
episode.
in Black, Flushing Meadow Park.
Yeah, Men in Black for Central Park. We have to decide from, wow, that's a really pretty black girl. I'm gonna go talk to her. Let me go talk to her. I found her dad is really strict. I'm off it. Let me go talk to this. And you could find out like the religions or cultures that you like feel welcomed in, and oh, this is cool. They like to do this. Like like every culture has like party days or like like depending on the cultures, obviously, but like you can find out what you like and what you don't like,
Yeah.
and that's what's beautiful about diversity.
Yeah.
Because you're getting a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Especially for people like us who love to travel. Like, I love Queens, New York for that reason.
Yeah.
Like,
There's so much diversity.
first of all, you can have a food from a different town in a different country
within the same 3 blocks.
within the same 3 blocks. You could go to Europe, to Asia, back to Ecuador, like straight in a fucking three
That
block shot.
is so true.
Yeah,
That is so true.
but it's also like 63rd Drive, 63rd Road, 63rd Avenue, 63rd Street.
some cons, but mostly
Yeah.
pros.
Yeah, but mostly pros. Queens, New York.
It's funny because when this episode was pitched for us, I knew what I wanted to say, but speaking about it now with you guys, you don't know how blessed I feel. Like in
Really?
terms of like having parents who are welcoming to any race, and me living in Queens, like I rep Queens super hard, and sometimes it could be obnoxious, but like, yo, the way you just spoke about Queens, man,
Yeah, bro.
teared up a little bit.
So
I
not
know.
You're not wrong.
That's that
You're
Queen's
not wrong,
pride.
for real.
Yeah.
For
So
real,
you
man.
feel like your parents you could bring home any girl, any religion,
Yeah.
any race, and they won't even like
Anything.
blink.
And again, I have 5 older brothers. I have a football team of like I have a huge family, 5 older brothers, and they've literally brought every single race home.
Yeah.
Name one, they brought it home.
Yeah.
They brought them home. So for me, it's just like my parents will welcome home anything.
Yeah.
Native American.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
Those are the real ones.
Those are real ones.
For real.
Yeah, my parents too. My parents too. Although like the position that I'm in, where I was like prepared for Moody's parents to not accept me. I always knew like my parents. You know what's crazy actually? I always knew my parents always have been like accepting of all people, you know, whether your color, your race, whatever it is, like they are super, super open and accepting. But when it came to like Moody and the religion, they were definitely like apprehensive.
Like shocked a little bit.
They were not so much shocked, but they were just like, okay. Like they were worried about how it was going to go for me.
Gotcha.
And it's funny because what's crazy is like when him and I like got together and we started getting more serious, we're thinking that like his family is going to be like such a big deal, such a big problem. And like, you know, like it's something we're going to have to face and like whatever, we're going to go through it. Like that was our mindset. But in reality, like it was more so my family that was like kind of like
he felt more of the
concerned.
pressure than you did.
100%.
That's so crazy.
And it's so weird because my parents aren't like that at all, but it's not that they were worried about like, you know, him and who he is, but they were worried about like what I would potentially have to go through being in a relationship that was such drastic different religions. So they were worried more so about like how his parents would receive me and like if I would feel pressure to do something that I didn't want to do, like let's say, you know, like converting or something like that. And they were, you know, they were like not like judgmental and not kind of like you can't do this, like never, but they were definitely vocal about like more extra like make sure you stay true to yourself whatever you do. And like I was just like, oh wow, like I didn't expect that at all. I
That's
more so
fire.
expected it from the other end,
That's
but
fire, yeah.
yeah. And it was just something that him and I laugh about now. Like we spent all this time being so concerned about his parents when really it was my parents that gave us a little bit more like, you know.
Oh, he was concerned with you for his parents. Like,
Yeah,
he didn't know
yeah.
that they were gonna take it like.
Yeah, because he didn't care, you know.
It's fire.
He's more so concerned about. Well, I don't want to speak for him on this,
Yeah.
but he, in my opinion,
I
he's
don't
more
want to speak
so.
for him. She's been speaking like the last half hour for him.
I think he's more. He's told me he's more concerned about like keeping the culture alive,
Yeah.
rather than like his religion. Like he loves his like Egyptian culture, and he wants me to like be a part of
Yeah,
that.
fire, which is amazing, right?
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. I love that, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird for me on a couple levels because like I had a conversation with one of my best friends like more than that. We were like 14, 15 or something like that. And you know, we were just having a conversation. He told me that he was in love with this girl, you know, but his family wouldn't have accepted the girl, you know. And I got a little sappy on him, but like I wanted him to realize like the gravity of letting this one slip Not because she was the one for him or like the one he was gonna marry, but because of the wrong reasons. Because then that becomes a trend where it's like, all right, like my parents don't approve of her because she's not as religious as we are, and blah blah blah. She's not, part of this religion.
Right.
And I was like taken aback by that because I had never like experienced that in my own life. Like
Yeah.
I had dated every religion. I mean, to an extent, and I had never seen a problem with any of them. So when he tells me this, I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Like, and it was like my first eye-opening experience to this conversation. Like, religion can stop you from finding the love of your life, or like, not saying that you cannot find love within your own religion. Of course you can. There's so many people on this earth.
Right.
But, like if you happen to fall in love, right? They say you can't control who you love or whatever.
Yeah.
If you happen to fall in love with somebody outside of your religion. So I was like in deep for some reason in this conversation. And I was like, yo, bro, like, one day, because he was like adamant, bro, it's okay, like it's all right, like I want her to be part of my religion. And I'm like, damn, bro, like for real, like even if you love her. And he's like, yeah, bro, like she has to just be part of my religion. Like there was no way around it.
You mean like the girl that
The girl
he
had
ends
to,
up with?
yeah, like she has to be. And like that became,
And if she's not, that's a deal breaker for
yeah,
him.
and that became an option like later on in the conversation. But at the beginning it was very like head on head,
Rigid.
like, yo, bro, it just doesn't make any sense to me. How can you love somebody and then all of a sudden turn your back on them because of a religion or because of like some sort of cultural difference? Like,
Yeah.
what is it? Like, you're really gonna let somebody else decide who you can and cannot love? And he was like adamant that day. Years later, I saw that he was with, like, he ended up opening his mind to other things, and I was
Yeah.
like really happy for
Yeah.
him. Not because like I was like, haha, I made you do that, or like, like I'm the doing for that. Nah, it was because I told you to choose you, like choose you over. Not that your parents haven't given you everything and they're responsible for you being here. You should be eternally grateful to them. Don't be a piece of shit either. But don't let you know how they say don't bite the hand that feeds you?
Yeah.
Did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. In my head that came out really bad. The opposite of that. Don't let the hand that feeds you like
Choke you.
tell you what you can and cannot
I
eat,
think so.
or maybe choke you. But like, yeah, like
Yeah.
in that sense of like you be eternally grateful to them. But at the end of the day, like
Yeah.
when you're 65 and like your parents have already gone and you lived your whole life
according to what
according
they
to
want
somebody
for
else,
you.
like
Yeah.
that, you only get one of these.
Yeah.
Like from what I know. I mean, I could come back for round 2 and tell you guys what it's like, but
Yeah.
like you only get one of these. You really gonna spend that because like, oh yeah, like, and that's like that settling that I'm so like going against the grain.
Yeah.
Because
No, totally.
When you first started that story and you said he was 15, I was just like, bro, he'll find somebody else. But as you went on, I was just like, damn, 15 is a crucial age where you're learning.
Yeah.
And that probably paved the way. Not, I've said paved the way too many times. It probably
opened the new doors.
opened new doors and like kept his priorities straight in terms of what he wanted to do, and made him think about marriage and like something further at an early age.
Yeah.
And like he probably thought about the outcome and what he really wanted.
Yeah, and like I feel like that's the beautiful thing about learning from other cultures.
Oh, yeah,
Like
for sure.
arranged marriage is not like something that we're like even a little bit for.
Yeah.
But what if somebody from an arranged marriage culture listened to our podcast and all of a sudden got 3 new perspectives on what
Yeah.
like what is possible out there? Like I'm sure they know already. Like we're not breaking ground here, but like like just hearing people talk about it. So I think he heard me and I gave him a perspective of like, yo, maybe he has a point, like granted I never steered him wrong, but like he was like he might have a point, whatever, I'm still gonna do me, blah blah. And then that kid has, I feel like, dated more cultures and religions than I could have ever met in my life.
That's so funny.
He's been to all 5 continents
Yeah.
and haven't left Queens.
Never left Queen.
I've had like girlfriends that they have been with guys that they're like that have told them like unless you're like born, well, in this case, this one case that I'm talking about, the guy was Jewish, and he was like, if you're not Jewish, like there's no way that I'd ever bring you home to my parents. And she was just like, what? Like, and this friend specifically had dated like a few Jewish guys, and like she had one Jewish boyfriend that was like, unless you like, we could be boyfriend and girlfriend now, but like basically like I'm not gonna marry you because you weren't born Jewish. Then she dated another Jewish guy after that that said like, it's fine that you're not born Jewish, but I can never marry you unless you decide to convert to Judaism.
Yeah.
So it was like, it's just so funny how like with every religion they're like different, and different like what they allow and what they don't, you know?
I had
Or like what people are okay with and what they're not. And then you meet like Moody, whose parents are like pretty religious, you know, Muslims, and they are very accepting of me, thank God. And they know like I'm not Muslim, you know, my family, they know my family's Christian. So it's just like so funny how with all these religions you find such a wide array of like people that are willing to accept certain things and people that are not, and it's literally all the same religion. It's just so funny.
I had another friend who he was Jewish. He had this Colombian girlfriend. She converted to Judaism. They broke up. Okay. And then she stayed like no, I can't say that somebody's more Jewish than the other one, but like she's more
like,
religious. Like she follows it to the T. Last
Yeah.
time I saw her, than he is, and I was like, wow, that
that's
was like
so funny.
that
I
blew
mean-
my mind, because I was like, when I saw him with the Colombian girl, I'm like, oh, he's gonna. I mean, granted, that man is like maybe even more Colombian than me, but but he I don't know. She fell in love. Maybe she did it for the right reasons.
And that's it. That's
Because
exactly
if
it.
I mean, granted, if they broke up and she was still following the religion, then
That
know,
means like her heart is in it,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and she loves the religion.
Yeah.
Like, good for her, you know?
Yeah.
That's great. Like, if you can find something that brings you more purpose in life, like, that's awesome.
yeah, maybe that's what she needed, right?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
faith. Sometimes faith is, like people who need it. You know, like
Faith is huge. Like, even if you're not religious, I have so much faith just like in life, in love, in friendship, and like a good quality of just like a sense of purpose being here on earth. Like, and that's because I have a lot of faith in like things going well for me in some sort of plan in this, maybe not a plan, but some sort of just like purpose. Like, I have faith in my purpose. And that to me is, I guess, sort of my version of religion.
I see it the exact same way, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. The exact same way.
yeah, it's tough, man. Like it's tough to surmise like somebody's love or something like that, to like
Box it up and
to
label
box it up, label it, and be like, make parents happy, make parents not happy.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a tough decision. And as far as the person, like, thankfully, any relationship that I've gotten into, like, their parents love me like more than their daughter. You know, like
Jeez.
their parents have always like just been like super like adamant. I'm like, oh my god. And maybe it's, like, due to the way I was raised or something, I have manners, but like they're like really like nice to me. I've never felt like anger or like
Yeah.
like I've never felt like you're not good enough for my daughter.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you know, because I don't know what I do in this situation. Am I smacking somebody's dad? Like, I don't know how this works.
Honestly,
you know?
I think my dad makes every person that I introduce to him feel that way a
Yeah,
little bit.
I
but
felt like that
there's a
before.
difference between like being protective, you know, and then another of
Yeah.
like,
My dad is definitely like, yeah, you're great, but she's better. Like,
Yeah.
he's like that.
I can definitely see probably doing that. But yeah,
Yeah.
like it's one of those things, you know, like it's super tough, and I can't imagine being the person that is not being liked because of their, you know,
Yeah.
religion or race or culture differences. Like, I just can't, like, I would hate to feel that, you know.
Yeah.
But in the same token, like, I understand somebody's relationship with their parents and not wanting to
Me too.
hurt that relationship because it's so important to you for your whole life.
I feel the same way. Like, as much as I don't relate to it, I understand it because I think about it like this. The relationship I have with my parents and how deeply I love my parents, right? I love my parents so much, and I will pretty much do anything to make my parents happy. Like, everyone knows this about me. Like, I like, you can't say nothing about my parents, about my dad, about my mom. Like, I'm super protective over them and I love them so much. So if they did have the stance of like,
we're not accepting moving.
we're not accepting because we know this isn't right for you. Like, this is not what you're supposed to have in your life. It would be so hard for me. And my heart goes out to people that are in that position, because it's just like, you love your parents so much, but like, they're not accepting. And how do you even go about that?
Yeah.
It's super tough.
I
You
mean-
have to weigh out. That's when you kind of just have to put yourself first. You have to weigh out like what's worth it and what's not. And also, if my parents love me the way I know they love me, it's going to be hard. It's going to be bad. But eventually, they're your parents, and chances are they will come around.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, you asked that question earlier, and I didn't get a chance to answer, but I don't know what I would do, to be honest with you, if I was in that situation. Would I choose my parents over somebody I love?
I know.
I don't know. Probably.
I know,
am
right?
big on family. I'm huge on family, and
That
like
breaks my heart.
the fact that. But you know what? I'd probably end up resenting them a little.
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, that's the bad part.
Especially if you like never find a love like that again. You would resent your parents so much. It's tough.
Is there only one love?
There's not only one love, but there are definitely different kinds of loves.
Oh, I hear that.
You
I hear
know?
that, sister.
Sister, brother.
Yeah, I hear that.
Like, if you never find a love like that one, you find love again, most
Was
likely.
that song "Love Like This"? What am I thinking?
Justin Bieber? Is that
No, come on, bro.
I don't know.
You know, I'm definitely not quoting no Justin Bieber.
But yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
And you always think, like, what could that have been? Right?
Ooh, don't do that to me right now.
What could that have turned into?
Yeah, I mean,
But it didn't, because of my parents
Correct.
that I love.
But that's also based off like how you live your life, right? Like, because I like to live my life with no regrets. You know,
Tattoo across his chest.
tattoo.
No regrets.
I just don't like when I go to make a decision that heavy. Obviously, you know, like I've spoken about my mother. You know, like she's done everything for me, so I would weigh her opinion very heavy, but not to the point where her beliefs outweigh my beliefs, because then I would never come back from that, because like I didn't choose myself. Like
Yeah.
I was like, because you're so strongly opinionated on something, you know, and your beliefs and your choices have brought you to that, doesn't mean that my life has been that way. So then now I have to live with that chance of like, I regret the situation, but whatever. I mean, I would take it like a champ. I gotta keep it pushing, you know, move on.
Yeah.
I'll find something else. But at the same time, it would weigh on me that I didn't give that a chance because of something. If that shit didn't work because of other reasons, and I found that out the hard way, fine. It didn't work. My mom was right. I come back, cool. You know, but like, if it's borderline, you don't know if your parents will take you back. That's where it's like,
I know.
there's people really
Yeah.
stuck in their beliefs, you know, like,
Yeah.
so if your parents don't take you back, like, that's tough, dude.
Yeah. We had a lot of the what if conversations, like, what if, you know, my parents feel this way? What if, you know, like, just like questioning all the different scenarios. And that kind of like helped us prepare, you know, like how we're gonna go into it, handling it. And like, no matter what the outcome is, we knew where we lied with each other and with our choices. And even if things didn't go well with his parents, we were going to be on the same page about it, you know? And that was something that, like,
Thankfully, worked out in your favor.
thankfully we aligned. We were on the same page. Like, no matter what happened outside of us, him and I were on the same page. So, like,
Communication
beautiful.
is key.
yeah,
Jeez. I'm
definitely.
gonna get that tatted.
Communication is key.
Communication is key.
It's funny because I've never had a parent look at me differently because of my religion. But
Like a parent of someone you were dating?
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
But I might be going off the rail a little bit.
Sheesh.
But I did have one of the parents didn't like me because one, I was just a fucking douchebag. And
Oh, that wasn't expecting that one.
when I was a douchebag, I sent like a picture with me, my 4-pack. Back in the day, I was like a freshman in high school, and I was just like, "This is all yours, baby."
You
You
sent,
sent a
the
picture like that?
You
Yeah.
sent an ab pic?
Ab pic.
Oh, ab?
3 to 4 abs. It was like slightly.
Oh, when you said 4-pack, I think man, like you were holding some beer or something.
No. Just me lifting up my shirt like this, and
Showing any?
nothing. Just
Oh,
it was
okay.
just that.
Just the abs.
And her mom opened her phone
Ooh.
and saw it.
Oh.
And her mom hated me
Oh,
for a little
my
bit, but then, I
goodness.
warmed up. I warmed up to her. Then this second mother that didn't like me, I think it was just more of a
Protection thing?
financial thing.
Oh.
They came from a little bit of money, and they just thought because I was middle class that I was lesser.
Oh, damn.
jeez.
That's a totally different, like, take on
It
today's
is.
episode.
1000% classism.
That's a word.
And that should suck, man. That should honestly suck.
Are you sure that's what it was, though?
Maybe.
You guys the same culture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Same race.
Wow. That's something that I
Sheesh.
didn't even think to, like, bring up in this episode, but that's crazy that you experienced that.
Yeah. It made me feel like shit because
Yeah.
not only are you coming at me, I guess this relates to religion as well, but you're also coming from my family, like the situation that they put me in.
Yeah.
And we did what we could.
Right. Everybody worked to the best of their abilities.
Yeah.
You know,
Some people caught a break.
you shouldn't be looked down on for that, you know?
It's those people that caught a break and want to close the door behind them. Like those are the people you try to stay away from because like,
You could come
No
up and
comment.
still be proud of,
yeah,
you know,
for
where you
sure.
came from.
Of course, stay true to your roots.
Yeah.
I
for
feel like you were
sure.
gonna get into politics
And
right there.
I
Chris.
stopped myself.
Good job.
He was like, I'm
Yeah.
No interest. No
gonna
interest in
keep it
going
to
there.
myself.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
Yeah. Things are crazy with that sometimes.
things are just. Remember, communication is key, right? So things are just insane to the point where you have to decide like your fate of your future life compared to like life as you know it.
Yeah.
You know,
For sure.
like that whole debate / debacle of trying to figure out like how to make everybody happy at the same time is truly detrimental to
Your own happiness.
your own happiness.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like you gotta make your girl happy. Now you gotta make your parents happy. Now you gotta try to make it somehow dance with each other, you know, like in
Yeah.
unison. And then like on top of that, like where you at on all this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, how you feel about this?
Trying to make sure everyone else is fine
Yeah.
when really you're fucking burnt out, like
Yeah,
tending
like-
to everybody else's feelings.
Yeah, because like it's so crazy to me. It's so crazy to me, and this would be like one of the last things I say. How radical, in a decision like that can be made, from like a parent's perspective, where they're so welcoming and like, you know, like you can have, let's just say it was your situation, you can have all these friends that are from different cultures and all this, and then all of a sudden it's like not the one you want to be with for the rest of your life though, not having it. Like that's insane to me because you're like all these other things in your life, but then when it comes to that, like we're not crossing that boundary. Like that's
Yeah.
not, even if you want to try that, we're not doing that.
That's
You know, so it's insane, but like my heart goes out to y'all.
yeah, for real.
We're with you, bro.
Whether you're on either end, you know, like whether you're on your parents or the ones putting you between a rock and a hard place, or it's your girlfriend's parents or your boyfriend's parents, vice versa.
That
you know,
aren't
like,
accepting you.
that are like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
you know, like putting you in a
That's tough.
situation where like really nobody deserves to be put in, because like they should judge you for your character. You
Not
know, like
for
they should
your-
judge you for who you are, what you bring to their I was gonna say spawn, what you bring to their child, you know, like
Yeah.
that type of happiness. Like obviously if you're making that person go crazy, yeah, probably not meant for each other, but for other
Yeah.
reasons other than culture and religion, you know, like
right.
that's that toxic shit. You gotta go back and listen to that.
Yeah, definitely. I would say for anyone that might be going through this, just put yourself first and your happiness first.
Yeah,
and
think
you
about you.
pray. And as long as your intentions are right, like everything else will hopefully fall into place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
That's
sure.
all you could do.
Seriously. Something that I learned this year that's helped me get through a lot is I keep reminding myself that I'm not going to make everybody happy. But I'm also not here to serve anybody but myself
Yep,
and my own happiness.
for sure.
And just keep reminding yourself that you're not going to make everybody else happy. And yeah,
Yeah, you got one life, and
Yeah.
it's not dress rehearsal.
exactly.
This is not dress rehearsal. This
Look
is
at
the real
Kris
deal.
Jenner, right?
Yeah,
Who's
for real.
what is that? Oh,
No,
Caitlyn.
not
Caitlyn.
Caitlyn.
There you go. Okay.
Caitlyn.
I'm like Kris Jenner.
I mean, Kris Jenner
Her?
too. That was a total freaking life flip.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait, he
sheesh.
did it
I
at
mean-
what, 70? He was,
I think
No,
so.
70? No way, he was 70.
bro,
I think he was 70.
bro.
She.
Mm.
She.
She.
Sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, she
Apologize.
was 70.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Oh my god.
And that's a wrap.
All right, guys.
Oh,
Thank you
man.
guys for listening
Ending
to,
it there.
to Friends More Like Family.
Yes.
We appreciate you guys tuning in every week. Like, comment, subscribe.
Yes. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Word. Love you. Peace.
Peace out.
Peace.